At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability, ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Always follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. What a huge day today in sports. What an unbelievable time of year with so many sporting events going on. Today on the good old program, we have Nigel Seeley in 45 minutes with a bunch of soccer bets, maybe a little U.S. Open action as well. Brad Powers, college football, Mike Palm in studio, and Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian. We'll recap coming up in a little bit what happened in just a zany day in Major League Baseball.
You called it. I love the cards, so be careful.
Man, watch out. Tread lightly.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely bonkers, of course.
Yeah.
Like baseball only can be. So tonight, though, Paulie, awesome. Love this. My only nitpick here would be I wish we had a day game. Like, I wish we had a game like at 4 Eastern. They used to do that once in a while on the opening Thursday.
I'd rather have a better schedule, but in any event, it's really here, and this is awesome.
So across the board, across the country, at every single sports book, the way it looks on the screen, Utah is still I say still because it's been that way now for 12, 18 hours or so, but a 4.5-point favorite tonight in the grudge match against the Florida Gators. The first time this team has traveled outside of the state for a non-conference game. Our producer is not born yet. Put it that way.
Yep.
He's in his late 20s.
It's a grind, Mitch, the SEC. Yep, only the SEC can get away with this. 1991, Shane Matthews was the quarterback.
Oh, sure.
Then they played Syracuse. The last time these guys left the state to play a true road game, non-conference.
Yeah, I want to see the reaction if somehow, some way, Cam Rising gets in for a snap tonight. Because according to every single source, he's not going to play, but for some reason it's not official yet. So as you ranted about the other day here on the show, it's like if somehow he gets into the game, you think Whittingham should absolutely he's got to face the music at that point.
Well, no one runs college football, and the NC2A is a joke, but if they did, I'd fine the guy, hit him with a huge fine. I mean, he lied. He knew he wasn't playing, and he came out with that garbage depth chart,
yeah, right.
Which they listed. And so it's a tough blow, a big blow for Utah, and they'll play Johnson and Barnes at quarterback. Also might not have the tight end as well, but it's a fascinating handicap. You know, what happened last year where Utah was the better team and Utah won the Pac-12 title, but they went to Florida and lost in the swamp in a game they should have won, and the big interception late by Rising, and Florida hung on for dear life in that one. But they are 25-1, last 26 at home. Do you trust these guys who are at quarterback? And if you want to take Florida, you're betting on Graham Mertz, who has played, one good game in his college career, after it was a debacle at Wisconsin. So it's Whittingham's an excellent coach. It's typical Utah football, smash mouth, good defense, will run the ball on you. But it's tough, and if you grabbed 9.5 or 10 a while ago, or you took the 7.5 or 8, you want to come back maybe in late 4.5. But I mean, it's hard to get there if you want to take Florida because of what you don't. What are they going to stop people on defense this year? And then still, how can you trust Graham Mertz?
Right. Yeah. Here's everything that Utah has going for itself tonight. 16 starters back, Rising again. Probably not going to play. Florida ranked almost 100, almost in triple digits last year in defense. Not good. How much, like you said just now, Paulie, how much improvement will we see from that unit this year? So the Mertz story is wild to me because he came to Wisconsin, a program that I have watched ever since I can remember from that state. And when he came in like a borderline 5-star kid and he played his first game, he lit the world on fire. And I was smiling from here to Sheboygan, and so was everybody in that state. and we couldn't get enough of it, and that was his debut, and it was downhill ever since, hence him not being at Wisconsin anymore. And I really can't even believe that a program like Florida took him in the transfer portal, but the kid could prove me wrong. He's had, I think, more than one good moment in that debut that he had, but that, I mean, not a lot. It's definitely, you can count him on one hand. So he's going to go face an absolutely raucous environment tonight.
Yep.
You think Salt Lake, as you said, 25-1 for this team, last 26. Do you think they're going to be fired up tonight to get an SEC team at home to begin the season?
Sure.
The place is going to be on fire.
It's always a madhouse, and then what happened last year as well. So, and a lot of people expect big things for Utah. I know Thule and other people in our betting guide picked Utah not only to win the Pac-12, but make the playoff. The win total 8.5. Florida, I mean, still, how long are they going to rebuild here? I mean, you blame stuff on Mullen, but they're looking at 5.5 and coming off a 6-win season.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely, they'll be jacked and ready to go, and everyone will be watching tonight.
Yeah, I think it's clearly a big-time coaching edge to Whittingham.
Easy, champ.
Oh,
No
Paul.
way. I can't. You're the second person to say that in 2 days. I'm surprised.
You can't. There's no way you can tell me that Napier's on the same level as Whittingham. There's no way you can make that comment.
Whittingham's awesome, but
Yes.
I don't think Napier was unbelievable at Louisiana.
No, I'm not.
So-
This is not me completely knocking Napier. Although he was 6-7 last year with the fourth pick in the draft.
Well, who knows if the kid's good, though? I mean, the Niners took Lance third. I mean,
So
that's-
the kid is super athletic. I mean, he's the
Yeah.
biggest freak we've ever seen at the position.
Yeah.
I'm saying Whittingham is one of the best coaches in college football.
Yep, and great with time to prepare. But who won the game last year? So I love Whittingham, but certainly a lot of people think Napier's on the hot seat, and this is, what the job Mullen did at the end there was bad. And,
Yeah, it was.
and certainly they couldn't stop anybody, but had some close losses like the Tennessee game, and certainly they followed up the big Utah one with a loss to Kentucky and struggled offensively in that game
Right.
too.
I'm leaning towards taking the Utes in this game, all things considered.
Yeah.
Because
Well, you got a middle too if you want. You can do, maybe it comes 6 or 7 and it's, let's party. That could happen too with a good landing spot.
And maybe the crowd's going to be, the players so jacked up to get out to an early lead. I can come back with Florida at some point if I do lay the 4.5 with Utah. I did bet UConn yesterday plus 15 against NC State. They are down to a 14-point dog now at home. Mora improved the team from 1-11 to 6-7 last year.
Yeah.
They got an experienced roster coming back, including 17 returning starters. NC State lost their quarterback, Devin Leary, and 10 other first-unit guys, but they replaced Leary with Virginia transfer Brennan Armstrong, who is a good college quarterback and can put up some serious numbers. And at DraftKings now, looks like NC State now back to 14.5. in this game. It's a lot of points here.
Unbelievable coaching job. All time by Mora. He took over a program that won 3 games, 1 game, 2 wins, 1 win, and went 6-7 and then lost in the bowl. So you experience at quarterback with the senior. You mentioned the starters that are coming back. NC State win total is 7. UConn 4.5 over minus 170. There were some 5.5s out there. NC State buried them last year. I think it is interesting to note that in the 8-win season they had, they did play 4 quarterbacks after Leary got hurt, and they have Notre Dame coming up too. So that's also maybe, I don't know about a look ahead, but still you'd have to worry about that. So they also have all these starters back as well. But it's hard to go against Mora, but certainly also you can't take 14 when it was 18 not that long ago as well.
Yeah, I would not advise taking the number right now. Above 14, okay, now we're talking. But obviously a very key number. And Mora and UConn, they were 9-4 ATS last year. Honestly, when you consider how awful this football program was the year before he took it over and the couple of years before that, this job, Paul, we both love what Bill Clark did at UAB. I mean, the program went bye-bye, and he brought it back, and they won their conference, and they were bowling, and it was an unbelievable story, and he did it like back-to-back years. That's the kind of level or the coaching job that Jim Mora did last year with UConn.
Yeah.
No exaggeration. That's how bad. Yeah. I mean, what it was a couple of years ago, UConn basically on defense allowed 10 yards per play?
Correct. 2 years ago, they lost 45-0 to Fresno, 49-0 to Purdue. They gave up 52 points to Army. They lost to UMass. Think about that.
Yeah.
How bad it was. And then gave up 44 to Middle Tennessee and 49 to UCF. I mean, it was an unbelievable coaching job. So certainly be interested to see if he can do it again and they can hang in this one.
Another game tonight, Nebraska plays at Minnesota. Your Golden Gophers, favored by 7. PJ Fleck has done a great job with this program since he's been there. It's the first game for Matt Rule. Side note, Nebraska, yes. that university, what a scene last night for the volleyball team.
Good job.
That's one of the coolest videos I've ever seen.
It was a good job.
92,000 people.
Historic. Can't believe it.
Yeah.
And it keeps the tight end out of the news. Breaking burglary charge. Minnesota win total 7, and we'll see what Rule does with their total of 6.5. For us was a disaster. We know that, coming off a 4-win season. Wins. What has happened to this once proud program? 4, 5, 3, 3, 4. It was ugly. But Minnesota, certainly you have to replace the quarterback and the running back. Won 9
Love
games.
the running back.
Yep, but you go look at the losses last year. In their losses, 10 points, 10 points, 14 points, 17 points.
That was a tough watch
underrated
at times.
defense, and I'm with you on Fleck as well. So they won 11 games. Then the COVID year won 9 games. Won 9 games. He has done a great job, Fleck.
Yep. Now there is a common narrative floating out there about Nebraska, and that is, well, talent was never really a problem under Scott Frost. He was bringing in good players, but it was always a disaster somehow, right? The special teams, my God, that was an ongoing problem for what felt to be year after year after year. And then just like the turnovers and bad situations and the timeliness of when those would occur. It's like, oh, here we go again with this program. So Rule does have talent here, but it's his first game as the head coach. You're catching a full touchdown. I lean Nebraska in this game.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect, but certainly what he did at Temple and what the job he did at Baylor was also one of the best coaching jobs you're going to see as he took over a dumpster fire. So he can only go up. So it'd be nice to see Nebraska be relevant for the first time in a long time if you get this program back on track.
So for those 3 games, I did bet UConn plus the 15 yesterday. I'm thinking Utah minus 4.5 and definitely leaning towards Nebraska plus the 7 today.
All right. I took 7.5 with the Gators because I had good info on Rising.
Up next, win some, lose some. Pure insanity yesterday in Major League Baseball. Paulie with the details here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
A week away from the start of the NFL season. Non-stop football action in sight. Get in on the action. DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code FOLLOW to get $200 in bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days after they're issued. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply, and their contests are unbelievable. $1, $10, $100, $1K entry in the Survivor, $550, $500, $5,000, $50,000 for the Pick'em contest. Get up there at DraftKings. Nigel Seeley joins us now every Thursday during the soccer season at Seeley_Nigel on Twitter. Great follow, and we'll talk soccer and tennis here. But we go live to Manhattan, where if you follow him on Twitter, there was an incident there at the hotel in downtown Manhattan. How you doing, sir?
I'm very well. How are you, sir? You all right?
Good. Feel good. Better than you. I mean, I can't believe you stay in Manhattan, and I hope you're getting some sleep with what's going on in the streets.
Yeah. Well, basically, I think there's 700 hotels in Manhattan and about 20,000 Airbnbs and hostels. And I happened to choose the one hotel that had a huge burst water main the day that I arrived outside the building. So they blocked off 7th and 40th. No traffic was allowed down. There's a massive hole in the ground, like a huge crater, where the water's done. And I'm looking out the window now, still people working on it. The traffic's coming through. But there was water everywhere, 1.8 million gallons of water all the way down Midtown. I did ask for a sea view, but I didn't expect that, or a river view. I didn't expect that to be fair. But it's quite interesting, and I can't hear it, and but it's a bit of a mess down there on 7th.
Well, go right down the street and have John's Pizza, the best you're ever going to have. How about a pick? How do you see this playing out now with the U.S. Open?
Well, I mean, I was at Flushing Meadow yesterday. I'm heading there today. I'm going to go and watch Andy Murray play first match against Grigor Dimitrov, which would be I'm looking forward to that match. It'll be an interesting day. I think from what I've seen here so far, I mean, Novak Djokovic is the right favourite. He means business. He's played some brilliant tennis. He seems motivated to win this tournament after the way he couldn't play last year, obviously because of his vaccination status, and he seems very, very confident of doing well. His draw, I can't see him not getting to the final given his draw. Carlos Alcaraz is in the opposite half. I think the organisers are desperate for an Alcaraz-Djokovic final. I think Alcaraz has some potential banana skins along the way. I think he could find himself in a bit of trouble. But I think Djokovic, the takeout from the two matches, he looks really good. I think it's going to be very hard to stop him getting to the final, and we'll see who we get. But the one thing yesterday that I found out, there's a bug going around the locker room. There's a lot of players going down with an illness. Christopher Eubank, the American who got to the quarterfinals at Wimbledon, he was struggling with sickness. He had to come off court and was ill. Another player, Dominic Thiem, a former champion here, was ill. He had to retire after one set in his match against the American Ben Shelton. So there's a bug going around Flushing at the moment, and I'm hearing that one of the girls in action today, Ons Jabeur, she was the former finalist here, and she was a former Wimbledon finalist. What I got told yesterday was that Ons Jabeur is really struggling with illness. She hasn't been at all well for 2 days, and she plays a girl called Noskova. Noskova is a young Czech girl. She's only 18, but Noskova had already beaten Ons Jabeur this year earlier in the campaign. I think it was on the clay court, but she's around about plus 175 to beat Jabeur. And if Jabeur has got this bug or this sickness virus going around, she's not going to be at her best. And she's up against a young girl who's moving in the right direction in the world ranking. She's up top 40, a real talented player. And Ons Jabeur, with this sickness bug going around, could be worth opposing today against Noskova. I don't know that for definite, but that's the rumour that's being circulated around at the moment, that there's a virus going through the locker room. So that comes with danger if you're betting Djokovic or Alcaraz as well, because they potentially they could pick this bug up. So I think that's the only way Djokovic doesn't make the final, if he gets this stomach bug that seems to be doing the rounds.
Follow the Money, Paulie and Mitch VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Nigel Seeley, our guest at Seeley_Nigel on Twitter, VSiN contributor. Let's go rapid fire soccer. Premier League. You haven't had a chance to look at the lower leagues because you're in Manhattan with the time difference. Friday, it'll be a great scene. Luton Town with their first home match. It'll be wild. But let's go to Saturday morning. We start with Sheffield United and Everton.
Yeah, not one of the best matches you can start a Saturday morning with. I can tell you what, I won't be getting up at 7:30 to find the bar to watch that. But the one thing I do think is going to be pretty dull. Two sides that are really struggling for goals. Sheffield United haven't had a win. They lost the first game of the season against Palace 1-0. Against Forest, it would have been an unders game, but Forest scored in the 95th minute. Last week against Manchester City, they scored a fluke goal. Man City scored late on to cash the overs. But really, you could be sitting there saying all three of those games should be under 2.5 goals. Everton, no goals. Worst start ever in the Premier League. No goals. No wins in 3 matches. Don't even look like scoring. Wolves nil. It was a 0-0 draw all along, but Wolves scored late. 1-0 defeat against Fulham and a 4-0 embarrassment against Aston Villa. So no surprise to me. I'm going to start off with an unders there. There are a lot of teams that you want to be betting overs, but the traditionalist in me sticks with the under 2.5 goals. And I think Sheffield United Everton is a banker under 2.5. Two sides really struggling, need something to kickstart their season. And I think a point apiece could be shared in what could possibly be a 0-0 dire match. I don't think this will be entertaining whatsoever. And I think two sides have got real big problems. 0-0 for me, under 2.5 goals, minus 143.
All right, hope that happens. How about after that, Brentford? You like the side at home to Bournemouth?
Yeah, I think Brentford are probably one of the most underrated teams at home in the Premier League. Last season, they only lost 2 matches at home in the Premier League, and they had the 4th best home record in the top division behind Liverpool, Manchester United and Manchester City. So they're a really strong side at home. They've started this season well. They've had 2 home matches. They drew 2-2 with Tottenham. They drew 1-1 with Palace, and they went to Fulham and won 3-0. An unbeaten start. Bournemouth have brought a lot of new players in. They have a new manager. It's not working at the moment at Bournemouth. It's going to take them 6 or 7 matches to gel. I think minus 143 Brentford is one of the better bets of the season, of the weekend. Sorry. I think there are sides that do not get the credit they deserve, especially at home. They're up there in the top 4 in their home form, but they don't get the lines are quite generous. So I think Brentford, brilliant manager, goals from all over the pitch. They play with a high press, high tempo. I think they're going to be too strong for a Bournemouth side. I think will struggle this season.
There's been it's a good start to the season in terms of, you're right, there's some under teams and there's some over teams. There have been a ton of goals in the Newcastle matches, especially Brighton as well. Every Brighton match has gone over. How about another under club Sunday, Wolves against Crystal Palace, another 2.5 here.
Yeah, Wolves have got a few problems off the pitch as well. One of their players wants to move to Manchester City, one of their better players, and he's gone on strike. He says he's not going to play for the club. So that's not the ideal preparation for Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace this season have been pretty dull. They did all their matches have cashed under 2.5 goals. Their manager is Roy Hodgson, who's quite a pragmatic boss. He's quite dull in his approach to games. Wolves have always been an underside, always underside. If you bet Wolves unders since they returned to the Premier League, you'd be making a huge amount of profit here. I know that a lot of people have been betting the overs because of the extra time in the matches with the injury time and stuff. But these are clubs that just give cash just by betting them. Palace, their striker, Wilfried Zaha, has moved on. I think they're really struggling without him for goals. Like I say, every single one of their matches has featured under 2.5 goals. And this match historically has a history of under 2.5 goals. They've met 11 times in the Premier League since the Premier League was formed. Obviously, these two clubs have been in different divisions, but they've met 11 times in the Premier League. And in 10 of them, the under 2.5 goals has cashed. And I think that Palace at Wolves here will be another unders at -137. So they're quite low odds. I mean, there's a few favourites there, but I think if you did a little parlay on Sheffield United under, Palace v Wolves under, and Brentford to beat Bournemouth, I don't think you'll go far wrong this weekend.
All right. Enjoy Manhattan. Enjoy the U.S. Open. We'll talk to you soon. Next week. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, take care, guys. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
You got it. All right. Stay safe. At Sealy_Nigel on Twitter. Sheffield United, Everton, under. That's 7:30 Eastern. Start the morning Saturday. Wolves, Crystal Palace, under 2.5 Sunday. Brentford, Saturday morning, side against Bournemouth. Nigel's picks. Let's go.
I love how much he travels throughout the entire year for sporting events. We were talking about this before the show. I think it'd be really, really cool to go to a U.S. Open one time. Never been before. I've only been to a couple of professional tennis matches in my life. But to be in that atmosphere with 20,000 people for a big match at night, I think it'd be phenomenal.
I can't believe how big we drove past it to get to the airport when we went to Foxwoods. I mean, it's huge.
Gigantic.
To have, yes.
Yeah, right? But to be in that atmosphere, I think it'd be pretty cool to do it one time. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, and we are live on the DraftKings Network. Plenty more coming up today, including Gojo, Dan Le Batard, and Ross Tucker. And here at the network, Paulie and I work with the sharpest betting experts in the business. You can check out all the best analysis on the website, vsin.com. Follow the Money has 2 more hours coming up. And at the top of the hour, an intriguing NFL market to find a bet. If you're ever going to play it, this might be the year. Details next on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Our updated NFL betting guide's out today. Picks from every on-air host. Football contest strategies. Great job by Michael Lombardi. Players to watch on every team and what he saw in the preseason. If you want the best and most comprehensive collection of picks, predictions, and previews, become a VSiN Pro subscriber for as low as $19 or save 50% off the monthly price with an annual subscription. Bet smarter all year long. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Every Thursday throughout the season, professional sports bettor Brad Powers is going to join the show. He's on Twitter at BradPower7. The website is BradPowersports.com. Good morning, Brad. Thanks for the time as always. How are you?
Excellent. Finally, we're here for College Football Thursday.
We finally made it to the big game. Yeah, we'll get into that and some of the schedule that we have tonight. First, how did you approach totals here in week 1 after what you saw in week 0? I know these numbers have been on the board for a long time, but also what have you noticed market-wide with the totals?
Yeah, so first off, I'm going to say that last week wasn't a big enough sample size of 7 games to make, I don't want to be rushing the judgment. Although I will say it was more impactful than I expected, certainly. With that being said, I mean, the 7 lined FBS games last week We weren't far off from the overs going 4-3. So of all the limited plays and the new clock rules, we still could have very easily seen the overs come out on top. I'll also say this. I'm not sure it was a good sample size to begin with, because when you're looking in terms of tempo, none of the teams that played, out of the 14 FBS teams that played last week, none of them were in the top 30 as far as tempo last season. So I don't think we got a good variety as far as teams to go. Yeah. With that being said, people are going to, they're going to overreact to what they just saw, because that's the only data points that we have for 2023. And we have seen it impact the market even this week. Even though the lines have been up for months, we have seen now out of the 45 lined FBS versus FBS games, 35 of the 45 games have seen under money, meaning whatever it opened at, it's lower than what it is right now.
How about some big moves, too? 9-point move on the NC State total. Big move on the Hawaii total. I mean, some of these the Minnesota total going from 47 down to 42.5. Huge moves on these games.
Yeah, and these are Thursday, Friday games that have gotten more action because they're getting played either tonight or tomorrow. So I would expect that more to be the same on Saturday's games. But, looking at the NC State-Connecticut game, that's one where I think I'm going to talk myself into playing a little bit of over, because NC State's, dramatically changing their offense. They're going to throw the football consistently with Brennan Armstrong and Robert Anai. So that one I disagree with, at least at the current number. Don't disagree with the original money on the under, but that's one where my numbers are showing some slight value there. Hawaii Stanford, as far as that one, makes sense. Even though we saw Hawaii, have a higher scoring game last week, they did not run hardly any plays as far as tempo. And then also wind looks like it's going to be a factor, 20-plus mile-an-hour winds on the island.
Okay, but do you agree with the line moves in those two games, where NC State's now down to 14, it looks like painted across the screen, and this move on Hawaii? Are books getting any money whatsoever on Stanford? Do you agree with that move?
So I have original positions on both dogs there, Connecticut plus 18, but no, I play numbers, not teams. So right. At 14 right now, I would lay it with NC State. I made it 15.5. So right now, I think that's moved too much. Same thing with Hawaii Stanford. Have Hawaii plus 10.5. Nobody cares about that. They want to care about what do I think of the line right now. I'm going to wait. Let's see if a 3 pops up on Stanford. If that's the case, I'm laying 3 with Stanford. That would be my preferred position, because I think people forget that was a delayed game last week against Vanderbilt. They didn't get home till super late. Hell, the game didn't get over till midnight Eastern. And now you're talking about a short week. And I mentioned this trend line. Last 20 years, if you have played a game and your opponent hasn't, the team that hasn't played a game yet is 55% against the spread. We're talking 400-plus game sample size since 2000. It's better to have film on your opponent than actually have played an actual game.
That's massive. So at this stage of the game, would you like Stanford -3 or make that a bigger bet than Hawaii plus 10.5?
I would not. I mean, I'm a CLV guy. I hate to throw all that away, a touchdown. So I would play back right now. The goal is to play back 25-30% on Stanford.
Yeah. How about this game tonight? And it straightened me out if I'm wrong on this, but I think reading your newsletter, did you make Central Florida 30?
I did. So that's about as big of a power ratings disparity as I have right now in week 1. It's tough pricing Kent State, 0 returning starters on offense. I've been doing this 15 years. Can't remember any team offensively or defensively have 0 returning starters. They did bring in some transfers. So I don't think all is broken there, but with some suppressed scoring, I want to be on the take. I don't want to be laying points, at least until we figure out how much the new clock rules are going to affect things. So give me Kent State because of my power ratings and because of the new rules, plus 35.5 tonight. That's worth a bet.
Okay. And what do you expect out of Nebraska and Minnesota? And what Rule can do now in his first game taking over Nebraska? And we just talked about a 5-point move on the under.
Yeah, I'm going to lay it, even with the again, suppressed scoring, and not wild about laying a touchdown in a conference game week 1 with a total of 43. But I just think matchup-wise, Minnesota's front against an undersized Nebraska defensive front. And look, Matt Rule for I think long-term picture, great hire. Short-term, I mean, we saw it at Temple, we saw it at Baylor. Even though he eventually turned those programs around, year 1 was a nightmare at both of those spots. So I just think Minnesota's so much further along. I'll lay it with the Gophers.
Follow the money? VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Paulie and Mitch every Thursday during the football season. The great Brad Powers. He's part of Matt Human's Friday Football Invitational as well at Brad Powers 7 on Twitter, BradPowersSports.com. Pick up his newsletter as well. One of the most transparent bettors out there. Shows you all his tickets. Okay, the big one tonight, Florida and Utah. Doesn't look good for Rising. I can't imagine he plays. I think you have 10. You took 10 with Florida a while back. Fill us in on the backups and the second and the third string expected to go. What Whittingham said. What's your take now where the line's at and we're not expected to see Rising?
Yeah, so let's start off with how much I feel Cam Rising is worth to the point spread. I think he was worth 4.5 points from him to the backup. The backup was expected to be Brandon Rose, and I think that was the game plan almost all camp until Brandon Rose got hurt early in fall camp, and now they're going to be playing with the third string kid in Bryson Barnes. And in fact, the fourth string kid is also going to get snaps for a change of pace. As far as Nate Johnson, he's more of a dual threat type of kid. Barnes has played. He started last year against Washington State, led him to a win there. He also led a key touchdown drive in the fourth quarter in the Rose Bowl a couple of years ago against the Buckeyes. But still, we're talking about a former walk-on. So a significant downgrade. From Rising to Barnes would be 5.5 points as far as a power rating. And then you throw in Keithy not playing at tight end.
Yes.
A top 15 tight end in the country. Look, non-quarterbacks don't move the line too much, but he is their best weapon on the outside in the receiving and the passing attack. So he's worth 0.5 point. So the downgrade's about 6 points. 10 was out there at Circa. So now we're talking, we're pretty close to where the line is now. I would lean with Florida. I question Utah's ability now against what I expect to be an improved defense for Florida. I don't like the wide receivers for Utah to be able to beat press man coverage. Even though I hate Graham Mertz, I think they showed enough last year against Utah in the run game where they had more than 200 yards. I'm going to lean Florida tonight. Also lean under because I think it's a slugfest. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would not be shocked at 17-13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that number also moved from around 47 recently down to where it's at right now, about 44. So for the person who's checking out the show right now and they're very excited to have college football back and they want to make a bet, you would actually say still bet Florida, or would you say at this point, you might want to pass? There are plenty of other games on the board this weekend.
Pizza bet Florida, nothing. I'm talking Little Caesars, hot and ready takeout. Nothing like take the family out to the fancy pizza joint.
Okay, very low then, very low. What are you hearing on McNamara with Iowa?
Yeah, I'm hearing he's likely not to play. Outside of the national reporters working for ESPN thinking that he's going to play, I've heard the opposite, and we've seen it reflected in the market. I mean, you guys have the appropriate show name, Follow the Money. Yep. Well, I mean, I don't need Pete Thamel to tell me if he's going to play or not. Let's just follow the money, and we've seen some money come in on a Utah State team that pros like myself don't like at all this year. When you're seeing game week that line drop a couple of points, that tells you something that Cade McNamara likely isn't going to play for Iowa.
Okay. Some other games that you like for week one. We mentioned Kent State plus the points tonight. You like Michigan State minus the points this weekend?
I do. I think there's way too much negativity around Michigan State right now. And look, I get some of it. I think the Mel Tucker hire, as far as the contract extension, was a bad one. It's not good that they lost, two of their best players post-spring in their quarterback and their wide receiver. But I think matchup-wise, it's specific to this game. I question Central Michigan's ability in the pass attack to take advantage of what Michigan State's weaknesses on defense. I think Michigan State dominates up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage, pull away in the second half. I'll lay it with Michigan State minus 14.
Very cool. Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, professional sports bettor Brad Powers. He's on Twitter at BradPower7. BradPowerSports.com is the website. He's going to stick around for one more segment. We'll run down some other bets that he likes for week one, and also win total still on the board. If he likes any numbers at all at this stage of the game, that's coming up here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Good to have you on board. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. And in this hour, the VP of this great property, Mike Palm, joins us here this morning. Good morning, Mike. How are you today?
Good morning, Mitch. Welcome back. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Mike. Hope Valley, Rhode Island, our loyal Nesson family that's watching. Morris, Illinois, Peekaboo Marquee. We see you. And Derek and I will be seeing you in about 3 weeks. Fredericton, New Brunswick in Canada. Oh, Canada, watching on Rogers Sportsnet. Good morning to Valencia, Pennsylvania, watching on AT&T in the Pittsburgh area. And San Jacinto, California, another sunrise over Spectrum.
There you go. What a time of year, huh?
What a time of year.
The soccer's back, U.S. Open in New York, football 1 week away. College football really gets going tonight and this weekend.
Tonight? It really gets going tonight.
It does.
Yeah, with Utah, Florida, and Nebraska at Minnesota.
Absolutely. Are some people going to be sending out their resume if it falls 6 or 7?
No, nobody will be sending out their resumes, but a ton of line moves on these. I think they're both very bettable to the under, both these games tonight. I got the Minnesota game at 45. I didn't get any advantage on the other. I think they're two with Rising out. I think that's going to be a much lower-paced game, and I don't think there's going to be chunk plays for Utah in the game is the problem.
That Brad Powers just came on in the previous hour. He said this game has like 17-13 written all over it.
That kid's pretty sharp.
Brad?
Powers. You know, you were gone last Thursday, and Paul and I had him on. I was blown away by him.
He's phenomenal.
He seems to know the college football, yeah.
Yeah, he's okay.
Are you going to give him 2 segments every Thursday? Because you should.
It depends on his time. The guy is...
If you don't have 30 minutes for VSiN, what are you doing?
Oh.
Take a look at your life.
Send him a DM. Tell him that in a DM. See what he says.
Okay.
So and here's the beauty of what you got. You guys rarely, if ever, take games off the board, and if you do, they're right back on it. So it's been available the entire time, right? I mean, this Utah-Florida game have you been getting serious action throughout the last couple of weeks?
A little bit of bounce back. We're careful with this game. I talked to Connor, who's our main college football guy, now that Metcalf is traveling. But he'll be quick to move the number based on who's betting this game, because this could be a dangerous spot.
Yes, no doubt. What do you expect out of Nebraska?
Well, it's kind of like the adult in the room now, right?
That's right.
You got an adult. Is this the same effect as Urban Meyer leaving Jacksonville? I mean, it's different, but I mean, Frost was totally out of his element there, and it had really deteriorated. I've been a long-time critic on this network of Nebraska and what they've done with their football program. You have to expect a boost, though, right? And what does the offseason turmoil in Minnesota, how does that play into this game as well? I just know, on the panel on Saturday, I asked the panelists, who's the best game manager in pro football and in college? And none of them really had an answer in college. The answers in pro football, Harbaugh got a couple of votes, Belichick got a vote. But I'm PJ Fleck, because I think he's the best coach in football with a lead. And if this is a close game, he starts taking the air out of the ball early in the fourth quarter. And they don't snap it before 3 on the play clock. And I think this could be a situation where they're up a field goal or a touchdown. You see a very low-scoring fourth quarter.
He's done a hell of a job with the Gophers. Put it this way. If Matt Rule can turn Nebraska into what PJ Fleck has turned Minnesota into, I honestly think Nebraska fans should be okay with that. Right? Over the first couple of years anyway.
Here's the problem. I mean, the expectations go from Frost, who took them to the basement of the Big Ten West, but still the memory of so many people of 5 national championships.
They can't have that in their heads. They got to eliminate that. It's like UNLV basketball out here.
Yeah, good point. Well, don't forget Solich. The guy won 9 games, 10 games every year.
Two top 10 finishes. He averaged 9 and 3. They ran him out.
Yeah.
Pelini got him at least to the Big 12 title game a couple times. Yeah. That was no good. No, let's bring in Bill Callahan, because we need the West Coast offense in Lincoln.
Sure.
Then Riley was it Riley?
Riley, nice guy, went 500. They hated him. Scott Frost would have had to win his last 47 games to have the same winning percentage as Riley. I mean, it was so ridiculous.
I know. The whole thing, the way it's turned. Jeez. And by the way, so...
How about the Big Ten, though? A very progressive conference. They've not fine night windows now all week long. They're playing Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturday night. They're on every different network. They're coming out with injury reports. I love it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, Mike. One of the first bets that I made this summer was Michigan to make the playoff, and I think plus 110 or plus 115. Now it's like everything I listen to is Michigan's going to be awesome and they're going to make the playoff. The expectations for this team now with Harbaugh, I don't think it's going to have an impact because they're playing cupcakes. But
you got to be worried. I mean, I'm even
everybody's on them?
I'm listening to Pat Forty's podcast.
I heard the same thing.
40, I think all three guys picked the Michigan-Georgia championship game. So
that's no good.
No,
that's
it's not
good at all.
That's very chalky. Absolutely. All right.
A point was a question on the panel and we did the panel with Mike Somich, Dr. Eric Eager, Dylan Sullivan from Circus Sports, and Wes Reynolds, who, by the way, was terrific. One of the audience questions was, do you think that the transfer portal will lead to more or less parity in college football? And the great answer was, how could it lead to less? How could you ever get to a state of less parity than there is now?
True.
It's 6 teams, and that's it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Somebody might sneak in as the 4, and they're not winning a playoff game.
Yeah. All right, let's put the gas down. Derek will be in studio Tuesday.
Exciting.
This is huge with a Labor Day weekend, and then we're 10 days away from this thing going in the NFL. Where are we at with the contest? What do you expect? What are the projections?
So we sit this morning right now at 3303 in the millions. Same time last year we were at 2581. So up about 725 over last year, where we finished 1,300 short with the same guarantee, $6 million. Survivor, same time last year, we were at 3,479. We're at 5,817, so 2,300 more. The revised projections are in from, the statisticians, the analytical guys,
the MIT crew,
the alchemists in the back room, and their new number is 9,100 in Survivor and 5,800 in the million. I think the millions is a pretty solid favorite to have an overlay.
I would agree with that.
Not as much as last year, but it could be anywhere from 700,000 to $250,000, I think, with the overlay. Here's inside the numbers. So the contest weekend that we do, the big sign-up weekend, which is not as big as the final weekend, but last year, Wednesday to Sunday, we did 1,320 signups total, 1,783 this year. That's up 35%. But if you look inside the numbers, Millions was only up 6%. Survivor was up 60%. Survivor drove all of that disparity. So I think the Millions not going to make it.
I would agree. Yeah, I think that's probably right. And then they're down to a couple of weeks ago.
I'll still take bets on 10,000. I feel strongly about 10,000, and maybe it's my own narrative, and I've swept up in your predictions and Amal's predictions on this thing, but I still think it's in play. Because the number one thing we're seeing is people are doing more Survivors than they did last year. That's the solid trend. A guy that did 3 is doing 6. A guy that did 5 is doing 8. 2 is doing 6. That's what we're seeing.
Hold the phone, though.
Uh-oh.
Does this Arizona...
monkey wrench here?
Does this Arizona thing change things?
I don't. I think the impact is so recent. I don't think that it does. So we're 10 days out because we're Thursday through Thursday. That's 8, and Friday, Saturday to go. Mm-hmm. So whatever you're projecting, we would need 4,200. So we'd have to average 420 a day. But like on an off Wednesday, we did like 350 yesterday, with the majority being Survivors. So I think you might see a days where we have 700 or 800 Survivors as we get to next Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. So this comment might come back to haunt me. I think it's almost as likely that you get 10,000 Survivor entries that you're going to have an overlay in Millions.
I think the chance of an overlay is a heavier favorite. If you had to say what was if you'd book the yes price on both, the yes on an overlay would have more juice on it than 10,000.
Okay, that's fair enough. Paul, I want to flip it with you for a second. I've had people reach out to me that now want to get into Survivor for the first time so they can go against the Cardinals. They think that they're onto something.
Well,
every person in the world's thinking the same way.
20 times, obviously.
No, exactly right. Yeah. But they don't bet. They're not bettors. They're like, hey, this team's going to be really bad. I want to get into Survivor now. What do you think? Can we do this? So let's just go against Arizona.
I really think you have to identify, like, the Jets and Jacksonville that year. People used, like, against both of them 3 or 4 times. So that gets you through almost half of your schedule. And then you just... the principles that people talk about are pretty solid. And, professional bettors that play Survivor generally don't play division games. That's a real strong point for them. Don't play road teams and don't play division games.
Correct. Yeah.
What if the rookie quarterbacks, specifically Richardson and Stroud, are just completely lost? And those two teams look awful. And then how long also will they stick with them?
Well, that's the problem. Are they going to ride them the whole season? And or you better go against them early because they won't be there later.
Well, I would think they would, though. I mean, why would you pull these guys midway through the season, though, if you're Indy and Houston?
Well, if it's that bad.
Well, I don't think Houston does. I don't know with Indy if they're going to be competitive or if they think, going to a more experienced quarterback gets them to a playoff spot. I don't think Houston's going to be competitive. So you let the kid play like Aikman,
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? Let
it's
him
like
play
the same
it.
thing with Peyton Manning. That's a good point, though, about are the games close? I mean, are you losing close games? And because of the quarterback, do you say, well, if we put Minshew in here, maybe we do something?
Yeah, and we can update this a week from today when the season kicks off and you're going to be in studio again. But as of right now, the percentage of Survivor entries that will be on Washington next week, would you give it?
Oh, yeah.
It has to be the most popular pick, doesn't it?
It's kind of the way I'm leaning right now, yeah.
People think Baltimore? I don't know. I wouldn't want to take Minnesota week one.
No, neither do I.
I wouldn't.
No.
If I had 10 entries, I don't think I have any of them on Minnesota.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want Minnesota either.
You're never going to play. I look at the schedule. For the next 3 months, you can't play the Commanders. So this stadium's going to be rocky. They should pummel them, and Snyder's gone. This is your big Snyder lift game.
Yeah. And Vegas Maddie came on the other day, longtime proxy. He said, I said, make a number on the number of entries that will forget to put him in for Survivor. He said 9.5.
If there's 9,000.
Yes.
I mean, we were talking about
one person.
17 when there was 3,000.
Yes. Come on.
It could be 40. I mean, what's the over-under?
Sure.
I'll put it at 35.5 right now.
35 and a half?
Yeah, right now.
Okay, I'll go for the middle. I'll go over 9.5 and under 35 and a
come
half.
on.
Up next,
Sagan's open.
no hyperbole, and what's an appropriate tip on a jackpot at the tables with Mike Palm coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, we got Lions Chiefs in a week. Get on the action. DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Life's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app before kickoff. Use code FOLLOW. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Code FOLLOW to get the $200. DKNG.com/football for eligibility, terms, and gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after you're issued. Get up there now. DK, incredible menu. Get lost and love everything they have with the contest and the menu with DraftKings.
Man, do I love Thursdays.
Yes.
Throughout the football season. Paul Charchian, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer with GuillotineLeagues.com, joins us at this time every single Thursday during the football season. Charge, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Good morning. It's like we're deep in fantasy draft season. I mean, this next basically 1 week, the next 7 days, that's like half the fantasy drafts in America will execute in these 7 days. So we're knee deep in it right now.
That's what, really? It's half?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are like, they go right up. They try to go right up to that Thursday night game. And, here's why. And this bugs me. Everybody's like, well, I got to go after that last preseason game. I don't want to risk somebody getting hurt or whatever. And then they shame everybody who drafts before this last week of the season. And these finger-wagging, narcissistic know-it-alls can go pound sand. I mean, here's the deal. You and your fantasy draft, when you can get everybody together in the garage, in the backyard, around the barbecue, you got the smack talk, you're handing off the league's traveling trophy to the current champion. You're noticing everybody's receding hairline, but you're not saying anything because you got the same thing. That's great. Whatever it takes. That's the moment you want to get together. And if that's July, August, or September, who cares? Don't let those haters bring you down.
Bingo. Great job. The draft might be the highlight of the entire year.
And the punishment.
Yes.
And the punishment for finishing last place. That's the other thing. Great.
Did we talk punishments last week?
No, we did not.
I don't think we did.
No, I saw the Giants play-by-play announcer had to be the bat boy. That was good. Go ahead.
That is good. Let me give you my favorite loser punishment. And any league could do it if you want. I mean, first, you got to know the makeup of your league, right? If it's like a family league, you can't have Aunt Susan streaking Home Depot. That's not going to fly, right?
Yeah.
But if it's just a bunch of, booze-fueled degenerates, whip them out, Aunt Susan. I mean, who cares? I say bring it on. But here's the best loser penalty I've ever heard of. The loser has to go to an open mic night and cold read jokes written by the rest of the league.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Wow. That
you
is
gotta
strong.
open an envelope right there, read the jokes written by the rest of the league.
Not
That's
bad.
my favorite loser punishment.
Yeah. I just heard when a guy had a panhandle and couldn't leave till he had $200 in his jar. That's pretty good. That's not bad. Is Jefferson going number one, and should he be the number one pick?
He is going number one, and rightfully so. In America, I mean, it's not even close. So, some years, it's like 50% this guy, 50% that guy. Man, not even in the conversation right now. It's all Justin Jefferson because of the safety and his ability to dominate games with giant box scores. You get a very good Minnesota offense that's built around getting Justin Jefferson the ball. Kirk Cousins is a fully capable trigger guy who never gets hurt, and neither does Justin Jefferson. This year's drafts are dominated by players who have proven themselves not to be high risk, because almost like all the running backs that you would take in the first round have all got question marks and risk attached to them. People are going for safety this year, and that is the right approach.
Yeah, I've been in several drafts so far. Kelsey's going. Church, no joke. He went one, I think, in one of my drafts.
Yeah,
but he's also gone like second or third in most of them.
Yes, and that's look, and it's right. Kelsey gives you the biggest positional differentiator of any player, and it's not close. He's so much better than tight end 2, and he's as good as having like 4 of the bottom tight ends in your 12-team league. Like tight end 12, 11, 10, and 9 together are like Travis Kelce. It's such a big advantage not having to wake up every Sunday morning and think to yourself, oh, please, Gerald Everett, don't just go like one catch for 18 yards as the 5th receiving option for the Chargers.
Yep. 2 years ago, Taylor had a monster season. Then the injury, and it was a disaster. And now I don't know what's going to happen. What do we do with Taylor now?
Yeah, by the way, good to know that billionaire NFL owners can be every bit as petty as a soccer mom who doesn't get the 2 full pumps of pumpkin chai at Starbucks. I mean, it's they're such freaking babies, right? Yeah. You'd think they'd be above it, but they're really not. So Taylor's going to be out at least the 4 weeks. After that, we presume he's going to come back, and he probably will. He's got to play 10 games otherwise to avoid tolling his contract, right? So he's going to have incentive to come back and play in those games after that point, because he doesn't want to lose a year of service. So presumably he'll come back. He'll be healthy in 4 weeks. Right now, he's dropped into the 6th and 7th round of fantasy drafts. This was a guy 3 weeks ago that was going in the first round. Now, Jonathan Taylor, you can get him 6th or 7th round. And if you can manage to just like play 500 ball for 4 weeks, that move's going to pay off. But man, I hate rolling out of the gate like 0-4.
Yeah.
That is a bad spot for your fantasy team. At that point, you're desperate, and you would need Jonathan Taylor to put up monster numbers.
Well said. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest is Paul Charchian with GuillotineLeagues.com. So how about short yardage backs near the goal line? A couple years ago, it was Damian Harris, 15 touchdowns. Last year, Jamal Williams with the Lions was nuts. He scored 17 touchdowns. Yeah. Any players that you like that could maybe, come close to those numbers this year?
Yeah, and this is, by the way, I mean, there's some betting angles here for most rushing touchdowns.
For sure.
And so I'm going to talk about some guys that are long odds players. First, Damian Harris has got a real opportunity. We've talked about him already, and we've talked about the Texans on previous appearances. I love that team to be a lot better, and I love Harris to be really the key for that whole offense, and think that he's sitting on a much bigger opportunity. Only 5 touchdowns last year, but he only had 9 carries from inside the 5 in that Stone Age Lovie Smith offense. Damian Harris could end up having closer to like 25 carries inside, 25 carries inside the 5 this year on a much better offense. So Damian Harris is quiet, but here's another guy that I really like. J.K. Dobbins. Outside of last year when Baltimore's offense was basically in tatters, when everybody was hurt, including Lamar Jackson, their ranks in rushing touchdowns scored the last 4 years, 6th, 5th, 3rd, and 10th. So this is an offense that had been producing a lot of rushing touchdowns. And I'm talking about J.K. Dobbins, and I know there's a lot of listeners right now going, oh, but Charge, it's Lamar Jackson running in all those touchdowns. No, it's not, because he's just 2 and 3 rushing touchdowns the last couple of years. Baltimore's rushing touchdowns go through their running backs who have scored 14 or more touchdowns in 5 of the last 6 seasons. And J.K. Dobbins is going to get all of that. His career, he has turned 13 goal line carries into an astounding 10 touchdowns. That is a 77% touchdown conversion rate on carries inside the 5. I love J.K. Dobbins as a sneaky play to lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns.
I'm seeing him right now. First book I looked at, 50-1.
Let's go.
50-1.
50-1.
I love it. Love it. Dameon Pierce, too, by the way, another really, really nice opportunity.
A huge fan of his. I had him to win Rookie of the Year last year at a huge number, a couple huge numbers, and I thought he was live until he got hurt.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. In the ballpark, for sure.
Okay, what do you want to do with Joe Burrow at this point? We saw him return to practice yesterday.
Yeah, and love that I think he plays week 1. But here's the thing. I'm in a lot of leagues. An embarrassing number that we're not even going to say on air. I don't have Joe Burrow on any of my league. And I love the guy. What's not to like? He could very easily be MVP and nobody be at all surprised. He's great. But here's why I don't love him. It's where he's being drafted. So you're getting all these mobile quarterbacks at the top of the draft that are fantastic. It's your Jalen Hurts and your Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, right? So it's all those mobile quarterbacks that basically destroy your scoring system because they're so potent air and ground. Then right after that, here comes Joe Burrow. But Burrow doesn't give me any of the rushing upside. I can wait 8 more rounds and get 80% of the passing output that Joe Burrow is going to give me from Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff. And so I'm not taking Joe Burrow where he's going, which is the end of the 3rd round, beginning of the 4th round. I'm waiting till round 10, and I'm getting those kinds of quarterbacks who, again, give me 80% of what Joe Burrow is going to give me.
I'm with you. I wait on quarterbacks every year. I've been doing that for, I think, 25 years. Quickly here in about 40 seconds, tell everybody about the great idea you had several years ago, and now people can play at GuillotineLeagues.com.
The premise here, Mitch, as you know, is instead of playing head-to-head, you start with 18 teams because there's 18 weeks of the season. And every week, the low-scoring team gets chopped from the league entirely, and all their players go to the waiver wire, where the rest of us start building superstar rosters. All you have to do is not finish last in any given week. Last man standing wins the whole thing. It's a totally new way to play. If you're looking for a fresh new style of fantasy football, season-long, GuillotineLeagues.com.
It's a thrill ride the entire time. I'm in 5 so far. 5. I'll do up to 10.
Love it.
If anybody needs somebody else. Thanks, Charge. You're the best.
Thanks, friends. Bye-bye.
Great rant.
College football tonight, baby. Good luck.